Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's the Uncensored match build-up show. Liverpool taking on Spurs. Who are really good, and we're not great at the moment. Steve's here and John's here as well. Obviously at the weekend we've suffered yet another disappointing result. Back on the horse. Before we get stuck into it, let's have a closer look at Tottenham Hotspur and how they're faring so far this season. Well, you know, they're second in the league, which is good. I remember that. We've been there. That was nice. They scored 46 goals and only conceded 16. Wow. Shit. Recent form, 1-4, drawn 2, lost none. Top goal scorer, Harry Kane, 14. Well, actually, top assists. So, sorry. It looks like... Sorry, I've got a piece of paper with these stats on, written by... Was that you or Si? Me. That was Tom. Tom wrote this. I can read Si's writing.
Rather than write the word top, he's done the ditto sign, which is two figures. You could have just wrote top.
But where my confusion is it reads 11 assists, Eriksen 8 assists.
It's 8.
I know, but I mean, because the ditto sign, it looks like 11 assists.
Ditto's a thing. Ditto's a real thing.
No, it is.
8 assists.
Lazy. Anyway, there you go. That's a little bit of an insight into Tottenham Hotspur.
Spurs are good.
In case you didn't know, Spurs are really good. They've got a great defence and they've got a guy up front who scores loads of goals. Steve.
Hello.
As far as Liverpool are concerned, and this is probably, let's be honest, it's probably been an ongoing thing all season now that we look at it, but really, does the fight for fourth and above begin here?
Yeah. Shit, isn't it? I really want us to be good and win the league. But yeah, we're looking now to finish anywhere between second and sixth, maybe. I don't think anyone else might mean famous last words, but I think that's the area we're in, and there's loads of teams going for it now. And I'd imagine Spurs will be favourites to get one of those top 4 spaces, but you never know. We win, if nothing else, we close a gap and we drag them back into it, kind of thing. It's rubbish because we've been in this fight for 4 for a long time now and it's crap.
Yeah.
But having finished 8th last year, if we did finish off, it wouldn't be... Listen, I don't think I'd be, out celebrating madly and stuff, but it's progress at the end of the day, and it's vital that we do it because, the more times you don't finish in that Champions League, it's just another wasted season. It's another year of catch up. You end up playing in the Europa League and be arsed with
having to bargain harder in the transfer
Europa
market.
League and be arsed with all that again. So
here's the thing, because Spurs. I want to talk a little bit about Spurs in a moment and how similar they are to us, yet not. But I think there'll be a certain mentality of people who'll be looking at this game, John, and going, "Well, it kind of doesn't matter because we'll beat them, but we need to be able to beat the shit teams." And I get that because I've been thinking that, but there's a kind of thought that's occurred to me as we're filming, which happens. I think sometimes thinking rather than talking, which doesn't help a lot of the time. But my thinking is on this. We've had 2 big draws in the last 5 weeks or so, Chelsea and Man United, yeah? And people say, well, we put in good performances against them, but we didn't win those games. And I'm of the opinion that, yes, look, we do fare really well against the good teams, or we have done particularly so far this season. And whilst we do need to learn to put the lesser teams to the sword more than we have been doing, we need to get our confidence back up. And I actually think there's been no better thing to do. If we'd have beaten Man United, if we'd held on for that 1-0, against United, I think that we might have seen a different Liverpool in the weeks to follow. If we'd managed to get across the line against Chelsea with a win, I think it sets a different tone for the season. And again, for this, we do still need to get better at playing against relegation and battled sides, without a doubt. But this could be a platform for this, John, because let's be perfectly honest, this team needs to rediscover its mojo. And if you can go and you can score goals and beat Tottenham Hotspur, who, let's be honest, are amazing in defence, then I think that sets us up really well for the rest of the campaign.
It does, and it's a mentality thing as well. For me, I think we all agree Chelsea are going to win the league now. So it's second, as she said, second down to 6th. And I think Spurs are pretty nailed on for second, to be honest. And I think they can afford to lose this game, really, and still go on and have a good season. I don't think we can. And I think what we need, really, is be in a situation, really, where it's Arsenal implode and there's all questions over them. City still aren't perfect and United can't seem to get out of 6th. And you want them 3 and their fans and not everything that goes with them teams, because the big clubs all going at each other. and we're above them in third, and we need that. And the season's not over if we don't win at Spurs, if we lose. But at the same time, a draw doesn't help us. You know what I mean? It's not fixing any problems, and it's nothing. So we need to go out there and go at them and win it. And I think I'm right in saying they're missing both the starting centre halves for Tongue and Alderweireld. So they're there to be.
I think Rose is out as well.
Rose is, I think isn't he out for about 2 or 3 months now. So they're missing what makes them good is their defence, and they're missing a lot of that back line. So they're there to be had, and considering how poor Coutinho was against Hull, and Firmino's been okay but not in the best of form, he's been patchy. That front three with Mane has something to do. They have something to go at. For whatever you think of Kyle Walker, he's not perfect. And obviously they've got a makeshift back line. So if we can get people in against Lloris and get things going, then hopefully we can produce something. But it's something we need to do. We need to learn how to start winning games again, and not just winning games, but winning games convincingly because we're good at football, not because we get a fluky goal. You know what I mean? Yeah,
no, completely on that. Spurs are in many respects a bit like our evil twin, aren't they? We play. I think there's a similar ethos at play between the teams, and I think that's top. I think that's top down. They're not. It's not about going out and buying ready-made world-class players. It's about building something, about putting infrastructure in place, having a good positive ethos at the club, then working really hard on the pitch, being collectively better than the sum of your parts. But the thing is that they defensively are absolutely out of this world. And they've got Harry Kane, and they're not short of goals as such. But I think we see you take Harry Kane out of that team, and look, we take 14 goals out of any team. You struggle. I think that, and not necessarily true of us again so far in 2017, but by and large, I think our attack and play has been something for them to admire. And I think on the flip side of it, the defensive play is something that we're looking at Spurs and God, if we had their defence, and see, I bet they're looking at God, if they'd had our attack, what could the possibilities have been? Yeah,
it's both managers like to play a similar style in terms of lose the ball, win it back. They want to press, all that kind of stuff. Slightly different in terms of team setup. Their midfield's more of a 2 and a 1, whereas is more 1 and a 2. But yeah. So they are slightly more solid, which it explains they've only scored 30 odd goals, is it? Is it 30? I think
I had stats through them, nonchalantly through them.
They've scored 46 and conceded 14 or 16.
Conceded 16, so they've...
No way, no.
Is it 46 to 16? So the goal difference...
Tom's got the graphic on the screen.
The goal difference is plus 30, which when you've only 16 goals in, you probably might expect it to be a bit more, but they had their issues where they struggle for goals. But like I said with Liverpool before, they're the opposite of what we were doing. They're good at keeping the back door shut. If nothing else, they are really, really solid defensively. Where I think Klopp sets his team up to be very front foot, go and win the game. I think Pochettino wants a solid base to build upon. Yeah. And then from the solid base, then you can go and try and do what you need to do. So he'll play Wanyama and Dembele, who are both, Dembele's a fabulous player, but he'll have this centre halves and Wanyama, so we've got 3 lads on the pitch whose job is the other team don't score. Whereas Liverpool won't be like that. Yeah. We've got no lads on the pitch. We've got it's on our centre halves and our goalie, isn't it? Yeah. Where they've got that extra little bit of solidity. It's our record against Spurs is pretty good for whatever reason. No matter who's been managing us, who's been managing them, on the whole, especially at home, we've tended to do all right against them. Having said that, they're coming into this, full of beans, full of confidence. And we're scratching our heads thinking what's gone wrong, what's happening here, why are we shit now? So that's the thing, is that usually when you play, I always fancy us beating certain teams, and I always fancy us to play well against City, and I always fancy us to play well against Spurs. But when you've come off, you haven't won all year.
Well, like I said, we did the final word after Hull, and there's a mentality creeping into all of us because look, it's
lacking confidence, aren't we?
Exactly. You're starting to wonder where the win's going to come from because, as I say, for as good as you can say a draw at Old Trafford and drawing against the high flying Chelsea at home, or whatever, you can say in isolation they're good results. They're not great results, and they're still when the high points of your year so far are draws. that needs to improve. And the problem is, again, like I say, we just need to get into the swing of winning football matches. As I said about the Hull for me, we should never have been about, everyone, our good players are back now, let's get back to 5-0. We needed to go out to that game and grind out a 1-0 just to get back into the habit of winning. And you know, this is what it is. This is what's at stake in this game. We saw how, you know, it looked so close for the title. Now the title doesn't look close anymore. There's a closeness between 2nd and 6th. This is where this next spell of games, because we've got Spurs, whatever, Arsenal and a few others, you know, in and around us to come in the next 6 or 7 weeks. Yeah, you know,
Everton's not far away.
This is the beginning of that period where what happens every season, where fourth starts to break away from everything else, and 5th is on the coattails somewhat. But you know, but there's always that. 5th is constantly chasing, just dragging on, just desperately trying to claw on and hoping it all goes tits up. We need to stop that from happening. We need to stop that. I mean, look, it's going to happen probably. That's what happens. Because it happens every fucking season. Or we at the very least need to make sure that if it's happening, we're not the team that's involved.
I was going to say, we need to be the team that United, and maybe, you know, I know we are 5th now, but we want to be, we want Arsenal, City and United battling for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, where at the minute it looks like it's going to be us trying to catch someone else.
Yeah.
So what I mean, we're already looking to try and get back ahead of the City, and we're hoping that Arsenal implode more. We need to, if we can get a win against Spurs, you know, it bunches back up again, doesn't it? Yeah. Hopefully, you know, United are only a point behind us as we speak. Yeah. Hopefully it increases the gap. At worst, keeps it at 1 if they win.
Yeah.
A draw, and we could be 6th.
Yeah.
There's a very good chance we will be 6th. And then once you... And I know it's only a small points total when you're 6th, but you've still got to hope that 2 teams fail and do worse than you.
Well, this is it.
And that's when you start at 8 on a Saturday, when you're looking at other teams' results, hoping that someone's going to bail you out.
Well, this is not one of those weekends where other teams are going to be cutting each other's throats for us. And this is one of those, again, there's a point where we need to make sure we're looking up, not looking behind us. Because, look, they're ever only 6 points behind us. A defeat for us and another win for them. And 3 points. If roles reverse, we'd be like, we're in good form, they're in shit form. That, you know, they'll be hunting us down. We need to stop that from being a thing. We need to exactly kind of restore what the normality of this season has been, and that is us comfortably ensconced within the top 4, which can't happen without other you know, better results for us this weekend. But you know, we need to get back and kick on for that, because it's not just going to happen. We're not just going to finish top 4. We're going to have to fight for every single point along the way. So, trivia question then for you before we crack on. Name the last 4 direct transfers from Liverpool to Tottenham Hotspur. Don't do it now.
So we sold to Spurs.
We've sold to Spurs. And I'll come back to you with the answer a little bit later on the show. We're going to talk about how Liverpool should be lined up and what kind of approach, maybe tactically, which should be quite interesting. But first, a word from our sponsors. The Uncensored Match Build-Up Show in association with Redmen TV merchandise. You know, for those of you existing in the Venn diagram of Top Gun fans and Emre Can fans, those 3 of you there, buy it. Do what he says. I would. Do we persist with what we think is our best team, bearing in mind that you had a substantial rant about how repetition, the madness is basically repeating the same things over and over again, expecting different results?
Can I ask a first question? What do we think our best team is?
Our best team, I think, within one player or so, and this is probably the midfield.
So it's the regular back 4.
The goalkeeper, whoever the goalkeeper might be. It's Milner, Lovren, Matip, Klein, Henderson, Lallana, Chan/Wijnaldum, and then it's Coutinho, Firmino, Mane.
Having said, the manager might need to consider changes and stuff. Our record in big games with this manager is pretty good with his system. So I would keep it similar. I mean, I would bring Wijnaldum in for Chan, and hopefully one of your centre halves is fit and Lucas doesn't have to play. Other than that, no, that'd do me for this game, because.
But that being said, John, we've talked about like Liverpool need to be reinvigorated, and look, as I've kind of stated earlier, I hope that a win against Spurs will be enough to reinvigorate everything that we're doing. But there is a case to be made that we might need to change. It's not all Spurs games. It's not all these games. You know, we might need to find just a general better way of playing. And if we need that better way of playing, then surely the longer we put it off, the harder it's going to be to get it up and running.
There is, and I think there's a case that, like, if you're in a trial by fire, you kind of get dragged through a situation. Like, if we did a new system against, like, you know, a whole lot of Swansea, say, and it didn't work and we were struggling because we were in a new system, then all of a sudden if we get beat by them, it seems worse. If you get beat by Spurs, it's almost like a bye, isn't it? Because you think, well, they are a good team. But today, I think we persist with it. I think we had this mentality at the start of the season where people feared us, and it was like, we're not bothered what you used to. We're just Liverpool. We're going to come play us, be better, and you've got to try and stop us. And teams have started to stop us, and now we're worried. We're like, how do we stop Harry Kane scoring? You know, how do we do whatever? I want to get back the other way. I want us to go and, you know, even if we're not electric, if we're not the great fluid football we had pre-Christmas, I want us to go and just show that we've still got that. I want them to, you know, have to worry about Mark and Mane and where Firmino's going if he drops deep and stuff. And, you know, I want to see us open the pitch up and Henderson make some good passes and things, and just to show that we've got it. Because I think, like I say, you can dwell too much on what the opposition can do, and, you know, Spurs are a really good team. But we forget, I think, sometimes that for everything that's happened since Christmas, we are still a really good team, and there was really good. You know, we weren't always blowing, was it 6-1 against Hull, you know what I mean? We still had really good games, and we need to get back to that for me.
Yeah. I did say, you know, about the, you know, repetition, insanity and all that business. It doesn't have to be the style of play. It doesn't have to be the system. It can be how you play. So it could be the fact that we do try and attack the middle of the pitch more, rather than just getting into Milner and getting into Klein all the time. We could. Yeah. It's going to be our first home game with our proper front three starting for quite a while. You know, since Coutinho's injury, that's the last game I think that we've had everyone fit and fine as what we want at home. We had Mane for 10 minutes, didn't we, against and even then Coutinho come off, hadn't he? So we haven't had this yet at home. Obviously, it's a bit different, and against a good team. Having said that, I would like us to attack the middle of the pitch more. And I know that they're strong in the middle of the pitch because they do play their two centre mids and stuff, but I think if you can get the ball, if we can start looking for these 1-2s around the edge of the box, you know, just try and drag players out of position. Because at the minute, when the ball does go wide, they're still set in their positions. Yeah. I think if we can start trying to drag players and move Wanyama, get them running around a bit, you might have a bit better chance.
Look at the Chelsea game, is that, and I still at the time it's obvious analysis, but there was a big Mane-shaped hole on the wing, and there was a big Lallana-shaped hole in the attacking midfield positions. And if we're able to do that, we could take a reason, because Kante and Matic, you know, again, they play different systems at times to Spurs and what have you, but they're very good at shielding. And there were times when I thought Chan and Wijnaldum were not better than those guys, even though I think they ended up getting better as the game went on to some extent. I think, again, this is what it's about. It's about going toe-to-toe with a team like this and proving that you're better than that. And at the minute, our players have got more to prove, because, as we've seen, all of the fucking good stuff that we've done at the season is going to count for nothing. It's going to count for nothing if we don't, you know, make a success of this season. And I would still qualify that a success for this season is getting back into the Champions League places.
It's a decent season.
It's not a season, you know, it's not open top bus tour. Of course it's not. Ridiculous. But trying to re-establish our equilibrium of this football club at a higher level is the short-term aim.
I think I'd be looking to take Chan out the firing line. He's having a bit of a bad run, isn't he? He was all right against Chelsea and he battled well, and he, you know, against a very, very good midfield, he did. So the manager might think, you know what, against an equally physical midfield, I'll go for it. But I think Wijnaldum's a very physical player.
I think you need to, when you come up against physical, that's where your guile needs to come out, and I think Wijnaldum and Lallana's in midfield's got... Wijnaldum's big and strong as well. He doesn't get bullied about, but he's got a little bit more flair and he'll move the ball a bit quicker. And then the only other change that anyone's really considering is not playing James Milner and playing Moreno. For this game, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't trust Moreno's ability to basically to defend. If I'm honest, I wouldn't. Although Milner's not been excellent at it, I think he's been better. And I don't think it's going to be a game where they do park the bus and you can think,
you know, you want Moreno bombing forward all the time.
The thing is as well is I think it's got to be the last game. I think where Klopp puts it on the players, if you know what I mean. It's like this is in terms of the league, it's like last chance saloon, but also in terms of the front three aren't at the best. You know, Coutinho wasn't really good against Hull. Firmino was in and out of form, and Mane still hasn't found his feet since he comes back. You don't want to change the system because then they've got to think of what the new roles are. Let them go out and just do what they do. But I think this is the last game where you can say to the team, look, go out there and show me you're as good as we all think you are and we know you are. And if you don't, that's when you can start looking at ripping the team up and going, I'm going to move things around.
And as with anything, just in a wider sense, you know, European football returns next week, doesn't it? You know, this is where we need to put ourselves in a strong position to capitalise on that. Like, you know, we will pick up points. People will drop points when they're playing European football in the week. You know,
and they're all like, most of them in the cups and stuff. It's Spurs now are hitting a little bit of an injury issue. You know, they're having a couple of niggles here and there, and we're just about getting our players back. So, you know, hopefully fingers crossed. So it's kind of like at the minute we're not banking, we're hoping at the minute. Yeah. And we need to get back to a stage where we're not hoping, we're convinced that we'll do what we do, and it should be good enough.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say very quickly is that he might drop one of the front three and put Lallana up there. And play Chan and Wijnaldum and Henderson, because
if there's something to be said that he likes the increased physicality that midfield.
I wouldn't, but I think he might.
Yeah, I maybe, and that's the case.
You know, if you want to know, if you bench Phil Coutinho, I don't think Phil Coutinho could be complaining about it.
Yeah, I think the issue is just in terms of personnel, we're still just. I just think this is the thing. We can say repetition is the key to madness and all that shit, but there is something to. These are our best players. Let's play them back into form, because again, I don't see there's anything. I think it's a combination of fluidity, of being in your groove, but also getting your match sharpness and all that kind of stuff. I think
it might be the first time in a long time that Klopp can put his best 11, or he thinks his best 11 on the pitch.
Yeah. My only thing is, and I think it's given just how he's been about it in the press since, is I think the only big decision he's got is, does Mignolet or Carrier start? And I know that's a can of worms, but
yeah, it's a question that I don't envy Chris Pajak for having to answer on the starting 11 this week. Key man prediction, John, who do you think?
I think it's Lallana, mate. He's the only player who's at the minute seems to be doing anything that we do. Anything good we do at the minute goes through him. So I think if we do anything, it'll be through him.
Okay. Stay.
Massive. I think he hasn't played well since he's come back. I think he's been. You know, he's been injured and he had the whole AFCON stuff, which is again, it's understandable. But once you're on the pitch, you need to be better. And we're all convinced he's a very good player and he's our best centre half. But his performances haven't been that. He's kind of got away with it a little bit because the people next to him have been bad, if not worse. He needs a good game, because again, if we are going to, I don't think we're going to score 5. I don't think it's going to be that easy to get past Spurs. And we spoke on the final word again, we need to keep the back door shut. Harry Kane's great. Dele Alli is really good. You know, you get Eriksen, good players who can create stuff. Son, if he might play Son, who again. So you need your best centre half to go, you know what, lads, you's go and try and win this game, and I'll make sure we don't lose it. And whether it's by his positioning, his ability, or his nous, because he might be playing, you know, we don't know yet how Lovren is, so it could be Klavan, it could be Lucas, who aren't great players, and he needs to guide them through it better than what he has been.
Yeah, no, absolutely. For me, I go with the Lallana thing. Weirdly, he's back on that like that precipice again of people going, he's not that good.
Yeah,
you know, he was great last season, but he lacked the cutting edge at the top end of the pitch. He's been probably our best player, I think, this season, really, you know, consistently, and how key to how we play. But a few bad games, not enough goals of late, and people are starting to creep back in. The fears started, the little voice in the back of their head that goes, well, maybe he's not good enough. No, he's great, but it's on him, I think. And it's on the players. People can say the crowd all they want. I think the crowd will be bang up for it. But this is what it is. We're on a precipice. The fear is eating away at us, and as a fan base, and what we could just do with is the players stepping up. And I'm saying the people who are going to Anfield, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Everyone's first reaction when someone does something shit is to go, oh, that's fine, you can't change that. But it's about how you pick yourself up from that and instantly get back home. And as long as we can generate an atmosphere of support for the players have then got to use that. They've got to kick on, they've got to prove, and they've got to start fighting, because we will have every right to start questioning what's going on if these players can't pick themselves up. And again, what we said about exactly the same as Chelsea, you can lose this game. your best team in the best form of its life can lose this game. So go out there and give 110%. Again, cliche central. Wheel out the cliches. I want to see a performance. I want to see effort. I want to see team ethic restored. And if we get that, then I'm happy to trust the 3 points or whatever to fate. Because if you've worked all you can work, then there's only that's all you can do. You know what I mean? And go from there, really. Score prediction, John, what do you think?
I think we're going to win, but I think it'll be a cagey 2-1.
Okay.
I think it'll be a draw.
Yeah?
1-1, yeah.
Okay. You know what, 2-1. I'm all for a 2-1. I think I said this for Chelsea as well.
I'd love it.
I would like this to be a result that we can learn from. You know what I mean? So if we're going to continue, like, let's have it be exactly like it's been. So we're doing all right, and then they sucker punches. But you know what? We step up this time, and instead of fighting back to a fucking draw or limp-wristing our way out of it, let's get strong. Let's gain confidence. Let's go in. That or 5-0. Okay. Trivia question was: in the last 4 transfers from Liverpool to Spurs, let's do them in reverse chronological order. The most recent one.
The only one I can think of off the top of my head, Danny Murphy went to Spurs.
No, he went via.
I
think he went via someone.
Right.
Robbie Keane.
Robbie Keane went back to Spurs.
Robbie Keane, 16 million after paying 90 million for him after half a season. Amazing. Yeah, Robbie Keane went back. That was the most recent. Before that, going back to 2002.
I've got no idea. Is Redknapp on there by any chance?
Jamie Redknapp, correct. Yeah. Prior to that, a year earlier, 2001.
Friedel? No, he went to Blackburn first, didn't he? I don't know.
Left back, German.
Ziege?
Christian Ziege. And finally, I mean, there are obviously a few, but we'll draw the line at this one. 6th of August, 1999. Attacking midfielder, stroke right mid.
Leonardson.
Oyvind Leonardson. Well done.
I thought we saw Danny Murphy to Spurs.
Yeah, it's not on the list, so you know.
So maybe
it's
not
on the list. It's
not on my answers.
It never happened. Did he? I thought he was like
Charlton or something, first. Yeah, he did. I think he...
so yeah, anyway, there you go. If you got all that right,
Rafa couldn't have got Danny Murphy out quicker, could he?
No.
He was like, "I'm done. I'll give you the game, Dan, honestly. I'll give you a guitar, mate."
How much? Go ahead. See you later, Danny. Pack your bags, lads. Anyway, there you go. That is the Uncensored Match Builder Show, Liverpool versus Spurs. Go and check out the rest of the content building up towards the match. And hopefully, fingers, toes, and everything in between crossed, Liverpool can get results against Tottenham at the weekend.